Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Pankaj Kharade, and it's a great delightment for me to interact with you by virtue of this pre-conference course at this 13th ISMR conference, which is being hosted by Indian Prosthodontic Society. So today we are going to discuss various factors related to clinical and laboratory steps in the prosthetic rehabilitation of facial defects. As we all know, the fabrication of facial prosthesis is a very challenging procedure. The reason is the patients with facial defects, they are constantly under a fear psychosis because they don't want any unwanted attention whenever they are attending any public gathering or whenever they are at a social event. So just to overcome this psychological issue, our prime concern is to fabricate a facial prosthesis in a very precise manner so that it's going to be indiscernible and it can help to improve the quality of life as well as psychological status of patients having facial defects. And there are various clinical as well as laboratory steps they need to be followed in a very precise manner. And the basic methodology when you are fabricating this facial prosthesis, you have to follow 4 steps in a very precise manner. The first one is the impression making for this facial moulage. The second one is fabrication of the cast with the help of this impression. The third one is the sculpture or fabrication of wax pattern, and the final and the important step is processing of this sculpture with the help of intrinsic as well as extrinsic staining. Now, you know, there are various facial defects, and the patient is under tremendous psychological pressure because of this uh, unwanted attention and the disfigurement which is there in association with this facial defect. And apart from that, it needs or there is high aesthetic demand from this facial prosthesis, because whenever uh, one interacts with another person, the entire attention is on the face of the person with whom they are interacting. And you might have seen that some defects, they are very much unfavorable, or it's very difficult to make impression because of the scar tissue or the contractures associated with this tissue. And the reason is lack of skin graft or free flaps which are used in association with these resection. So skin grafts are rarely used because in most instances the raw tissue is left to form granulation tissue and epithelize spontaneously. And now here you can see that this defect is very easy for making impression and fabrication of orbital prosthesis. So these are favorable defects. Again, here is one more example. The resection has been carried out in a very optimal manner, and the adjacent tissue have been maintained so that whenever you are fabricating a prosthesis, there will be least amount of deformation seen while performing the various laboratory as well as clinical steps related to this facial prosthesis fabrication. Now, this particular defect, it's very tedious job to decide what kind of facial prosthesis is required for this patient. As you can see that the surgical site has been obturated with a flap, and there is very less space or insufficient space is available for fabrication of prosthesis. So there is a big dilemma regarding the final treatment plan uh, for rehabilitation of these defects. And the pre-operative consultation is valuable for informing the patient regarding the nature of defect and the choices available for rehabilitation. Because you might have seen that most of the patients, they are not aware that the facial prosthesis is going to be static. These patients, they have misconception regarding the prosthesis, that they are going to be dynamic in nature or they are going to be mobile. But practically it's or when you think from the point of economical constraint, it's a very difficult job to go for these dynamic processes. So our process is going to be static, and it's very essential to inform the patient regarding the nature of your prosthesis. To rehabilitate similar defects, photographs are helpful in eliminating such kind of misconception. So surgical resection of tumor is dependent on the nature and extent of the tumor. Resection confined to removal of orbital content result in defects that are easier to rehabilitate. Now coming to the impression, you need to instruct the patient regarding their position and the entire procedure of impression making, so that it will be easier for the patient to overcome the anxiety related to this impression procedure. Apart from that, if the patient is in a relaxed position, then it will prevent undesirable contraction of the surrounding musculature related to the defect, and it will prevent distortion of the defect as well. So you should explain the entire procedure to the patient as well as the relatives or attendant of the patient, so that they can stay with the patient while performing the impression procedure. And sometimes the patient can hold hand of the relative, or they can support morally to the patient, so that the anxiety related to this impression procedure it can be overcome. And few patients may have claustrophobia. So if you can explain the entire procedure to these patients, then it will be easier for the patient to undergo this impression procedure. Now, there are a few important points which you need to follow for this impression procedure. The first one is do not displace the tissue bed. And the second thing is we should block the undesirable undercuts with lubricated gauze. Now, when making the impression for this facial molar, you can go for a complete facial molar impression, or it can be partial, depending on the requirement of prosthetic rehabilitation. Now, here you can see that we have fabricated a frame of cardboard or card sheet, and it can be used to support the impression material. So you can see the frame is fitting precisely around the face of patient, and it will help for controlling the flow, excessive flow of impression material. As you know, we are going to apply the impression material in a creamy consistency. So there are higher chances that the impression material may flow in the surrounding area. So this frame, it will prevent or it will restrict the flow of material, impression material. And apart from that, you are going to support this impression material with the help of stone or plaster, and it will prevent the excessive flow of this plaster as well. Now, before making a complete facial molar impression, I would like to advise the placement of intraoral suction tubes, or you can use hollow pipes to maintain the breathing during this impression procedure. So you can insert this hollow pipe or suction tube in patient's mouth, and after that you can start applying the hydrocolloid impression material in a creamy consistency. So you need to mix the irreversible hydrocolloid in a creamy consistency and apply it in the area to be recorded. Precise impressions of orbital defects are very challenging to record, as surrounding tissues easily get displaced with small amount of pressure. Here you can see the impression has been recorded with this irreversible hydrocolloid impression material. And so here you can see that the suction tube is there in the impression itself, and it will help to restore, or it will help for continuous breathing during the impression procedure as well. And you can block the undercut with the help of cotton as well as these gauze fibers. Now, regarding partial facial molars, here you can see the partial area of face has been recorded, and once you apply your impression material, You can place gauze strips or cotton fibers. They are embedded in the impression material before initial setting to provide retention for the fast setting plaster, which will support the impression material. Now, this is how it looks once you apply the fast setting plaster or stone on the back side of your impression material. So it will add or it will reinforce your impression material. So whenever you are trying to retrieve it, it will not allow deformation of your impression. As the facial defects, they are very large, and if you are recording impression of your entire face or interface of the patient, so there are chances that the impression material being elastic, it will get deformed. But if you have the support from this stone or plaster, then deformation of these materials, it will be prevented. So this is one of the facial moulage we had prepared, and this moulage will be used for fabrication of this facial prosthesis. Now here you can see that the patient is having a defect on the left side of uh, jaw, that is in the buccal region, and then we have to fabricate a prosthesis to mask this defect. So you can fabricate the sculpture with the help of modeling wax. Here you can see the sculpture has been fabricated, and then you can duplicate the skin texture available on the contralateral side of the face with the help of gauze or any other material, so that you can have the exact skin texture. And after that, you can fabricate a two-piece mold. Uh, and you need to mention the direction indicators, so that when you are processing after packing with silicone, you can place the second part of mold in a precise manner. And this is how it looks after fabrication of final processes. So you can see the processes to mask the facial defect in the buccal region has been fabricated, and it is covering the entire defect. And you can see the translucent margins, because the thickness of this silicone at the margin region is very less, and it will help for proper adaptation, and it will make your prosthesis indiscernible when the patients are having appearance at public places. So the thickness of margins at the periphery is very important. And this is the final prosthesis. Now sometimes you need to make partial impression for these conformers. Here you can see that the ocular conformer has been fabricated to maintain the space after enucleation of eyeball. And once the healing will be achieved, then the definitive prosthesis will be fabricated. So you have to make partial moulage impression, so that the contour of this conformer can be compared with the contralateral portion of the face. Now we are going to discuss various clinical cases and the steps being fabricated during this prosthesis fabrication. Now, this is a case where this male patient of 40 years reported for replacement of his right eye. Defect was obturated with a flap, and it was a big confusion, or it was a great dilemma. What kind of prosthesis is to be fabricated for this patient? As the space was very much insufficient, we decided to fabricate orbital prosthesis. So, accurate facial impression is essential for construction of a well-adapted prosthesis. So we decided to proceed with the usual protocol, and the frame fitting to the face was fabricated, and irreversible hydrocolloid was used to make the facial impression for this patient, as it is a static, easy to manipulate, and fast setting material. Apart from that, it is non-irritant and elastic with reasonable dimensional accuracy and detailed reproduction. And once it is in the initial setting phase, the cotton was placed on the alginate before it sets, so that it will help in retention of the plaster, which will be added over it. And the impression was retrieved after supporting it with stone or plaster, so that the deformation of impression, it can be avoided. Now the next step is orientation of the eye shell. The left eye was maintained in the conversational gaze. Now, how to maintain this conversational breeze? You can ask the patient to look at an object which is at a distance of 6 feet and at the level of eyes. So this position, it is suitable for adjusting the position of eye shell, so that you can compare the position of eye shell with the contralateral eye and the position can be finalized. And a series of vertical lines was marked on the face, and green line through the midline of the face, and the blue line was passing through the iris of the left eye, and these measurements were transferred on the defect side, and the red line was drawn. So it can be useful for placement of or mediolateral placement of your eye shell. Then a horizontal line, yellow line, it is passing through the medial and lateral canthus of the left eye and extended through the defect on the right side of the face. So this horizontal line, it helps in orienting the eye shell in a correct vertical plane, and the vertical line drawn on the face, that is the red, green and blue, they help in orienting the shell mediolaterally. So you have these stock eyes available in various shades and shape. You can select a suitable size and shade as per requirement, and then they can be modified and they can be used for fabrication of this orbital prosthesis. So an eye shell matching the sclera and the color of the iris of the patient can be selected, and these spatial measurements, they can be transferred to the working model to assist in wax pattern fabrication. Now you can use the facial moulage for fabrication of the mold, or you can also refine the sculpture by placing it in the defect region and coating the fitting surface with impression materials, so that the fit of the process can be precise. But if you are following this procedure, then you will have to flask this prosthesis directly in a denture flask or Hano flask, and it can be processed, because it's not going to fit on your facial moulage or model once you have refined the fitting surface. So before packing, skin texture can be sculpted with the help of gauze. This texture is slightly more prominent as compared to normal skin to compensate the loss of detail during processing and extrinsic staining. So once you will process these surface details, some of the surface details, they get lost, and after application of extrinsic stains as well, these details, they get lost. So you have to be a bit or you have to maintain these details in a prominent fashion, so that even though there is loss of certain details, few details will be visible after the final processing. Now, there are various methods of duplication of eye shell as well, so that you can protect your eye shell and it will not get damaged during the processing. So you can use this crown flask, or you can fabricate your two-piece flask for duplication of eye shell, or you can use these elastomeric impression material to fabricate index, and they can be used for duplication of eye shell. And this is a crown flask which is used most commonly for duplication of eye shell. And then you can add one index, and after dewaxing, it will be filled with acrylic material. And this is how the duplicate eye shell looks. So it can be used for processing, and this will prevent damage of original eye shell. So it will prevent damage of this original eye shell. And this is what I was discussing about. Once you have refined the fitting area with impression material, you can directly flask it, or you can directly place it in the denture flask or Hano flask, and then it can be processed. So once the patient's approval is obtained, the pattern is transferred to the processing mode, and you can use this anterior indexing method for stabilizing the eye shell during processing. So here you can see that I have prepared this anterior index. It is prepared with the help of acrylic, and I have made few holes in the index so that it will get retained in the upper portion of the flask. So once the dewaxing will be done, this index and the ice shell, it will go into the upper part of mold. So here you can see that the entry index has been attached in the scleral portion of your ice shell, and the iris portion, it is covered with adhesive tape. So the damage to this ice shell, it can be avoided during the processing. And when you will proceed for dewaxing, after dewaxing, this entire index as well as the ice shell, it will go into the upper part. And this entire indexing technique has been published by Journal of Prosthetic Dentistry. And this is how it looks after dewaxing. So here you can see that the index as well as the ice shell has gone into the upper part, and the defect area which was filled with the wax is in the form of hollow cavity. Now we are going to place the mixed silicone in this region. So you need to take the medical grade silicone, which is having two components. These two components, they are mixed in equal quantity, and after mixing, you need to add one opaque so that the translucency of this silicone material, it can be uh, overcome, or it will not be translucent after mixing. So once you will add the opaque material, you have various intrinsic stains, and you need to assess the skin tone of the patient. Uh, in India, we have tendency towards a yellowish skin tone in most of the patient, but it's going to vary from patient to patient. So you need to assess the skin tone very precisely, and you can choose different intrinsic stains so that the precise color matching can be done. So you can use these various colors as I have shown here in a stepwise manner, and they will help to achieve the precise color matching. Now, this is how it looks when you add a stain, various intrinsic stains to the silicone impression material. And you have to match the shade with the patient's skin or the area where you are going to place the prosthesis. So what we can do, you can place the mixed silicone material in a polythene sheet, and then you can compare it in the area of your interest or where the prosthesis is going to be placed. So here you can see the silicone material, it has been placed in a polythene, and I have compared with the skin tone or skin color of the patient. Once you get the approval from the patient, you can pack the silicone and then you can close the flask. Apart from this method, you can also compare the skin tone with the help of spectrophotometer. It is having a digital library of more than 10,000 skin tones. So the shade matching is going to be very precise, or else you can fabricate these kind of shade tabs. So it will save the chair side time, and the shade matching can be done in the absence of patient as well. So the patient was called for a shade matching appointment. Intrinsic pigments were added to match the patient's facial skin color, and packing was done. After retrieval of the prosthesis, it was finished and polished. Margins were made thin to make them inconspicuous. Extrinsic staining was done. Here you can see that the use of extrinsic stains have been done, and then it was placed at the insertion site. So we have these kind of insertion extrinsic stains, and they can be used before inserting the prosthesis finally. So after using these extrinsic stains, you can match the skin tone or the skin color of the prosthesis in a precise manner. So I attended this fellowship program at Okanagan University. So it was regarding fabrication of external prosthesis and other laboratory steps like staining and processing of this prosthesis. So here you can see the pre-treatment and post-treatment photograph. You can appreciate the difference after fabrication of the prosthesis. You can ask the patient to use these spectacles or glass frames so that the margin of the prosthesis it can remain hidden behind the frames, and you can camouflage the final outcome of your prosthetic rehabilitation. So you try to place the junction of skin and prosthesis behind the frames of spectacles. In the next case, here you can see that I had recorded this photograph in the operation theater itself. So it's very important to have communication between the oncosurgeon and prosthodontist so that the prosthetic outcome it will be more effective, and we can maintain the useful soft tissue or hard tissue at the time of surgery. So this is how it looked after initial healing. So she was a 60 years female patient, uh, and she had histiocytoma. So the patient's right eye was surgically removed and blocked, and the orbital process was planned for this patient. Then the impression procedure was carried out in the usual manner. Uninterrupted nasal breathing was maintained through hollow plastic tube inserted through the mouth of the patient, and you can see it in the impression itself, and it was supported by plaster so that the deformation of this impression was avoided. And then this was the facial moulage, and you can use these aluminum foils as a separating material, so it will be easier for you to take out the sculpture while going for trial on patient face. And here you can see that the stock is attached on the uh, inner surface of eye shell, and it will help for adjustment of eye shell position when you are trying it on patient's face. Now, as we have discussed, the assessment of gaze during the fabrication of wax pattern is done. So you have to ask the patient to look at a distance, or look at an object which is at a distance of 6 feet and at the level of eye. And this position will be helpful to adjust the position of eye shield. So the contralateral eye position can be compared, and the eye shield position can be finalized. So these facial measurements were transferred to the working model to assist in a wax pattern fabrication, and skin details can be created with the help of gauze in an exaggerated manner, and then the two-piece mold is fabricated and the wax pattern is invested. Here you can see that the anterior index has been attached on the scleral part, and the iris portion is covered with adhesive tape so that it will not get damaged. And the wax pattern, it will be covered by the second pore, that is the second part of the mold. So you can apply a soap solution on the wax pattern so that the surface tension of this wax it will be reduced, and the contact of stone which will be applied for the fabrication of second part of mold, it will be having close adaptation with this wax pattern. And after dewaxing, you will get hollow cavity of the defect, and the index as well as the iris portion, it will go into the upper part of your mold. So once the shade matching is done, the silicone is packed in the mold which is fabricated, and then you can apply pressure under this hydraulic press. So excess of material, it can come outside. You can keep that material as a control so that you can check whether the vulcanization has uh, occurred properly or precisely. See, these are basically room temperature vulcanizing silicones. So you don't have to apply heat for these things. But if you are in hurry, or if you are running short of time, in that case, you can keep these flasks or molds at a higher temperature. You can place them in oven, hot air oven, and then it will help to expedite the curing or the vulcanization procedure. So the process is finished and polished, and margins were made thin to make them inconspicuous. Then it was placed at the insertion site. So here you can appreciate the difference, or the facial appearance has improved a lot, and it offers additional moral, or it gives moral boost for these patients having facial defects. And this was the photograph before facial process fabrication and after fabrication of facial prosthesis. And as we have discussed, you can use these frames, glass frames or spectacles, to camouflage the defect. Now the next case, again, it's a case of orbital defect. It was a big defect, and we made the impression by blocking undesirable undercuts. And this facial moulage, it was used for fabrication of the sculpture. So here you can see that the aluminum foil has been used as a separating material, and the eye shell having stock, it was used. And we had used this clay for fabrication of this pattern. And as I was discussing, the stock behind this eye shell, it will help to adjust the position of iris very easily. So the markings have been done on patient's face, and you can adjust the position of eye shell. And this was the final prosthesis. And here you can see that the spectacles can be used to camouflage the final outcome of the prosthesis. Now coming to ear prosthesis, you may come across various ear defects. They might be congenital, or they might have various etiologies. So you need to assess the area of ear prosthesis or ear, so that you can make the impression and prosthesis can be fabricated. So you can prepare such kind of frames with holes, and they will help for retention of impression material. So here you can see the patient is asked to lie down in this position, so that you can make the impression of this ear defect. And the frame prepared with hole, it has been used for making this impression, and it will provide mechanical interlocking for the impression material. Now this is the impression of the ear, and you can record impression from both the sides, so that it will help, or the cast which is fabricated, it will be helpful for comparison from frontal as well as lateral aspect. Now there are various modes of retention for facial prosthesis. The most common mode of retention is anatomical retention. Hard and softish undercut available in the defect, they are used for retention purpose. Apart from that, there are various types of adhesives. They are available in liquid form, or spray form, or paste form, and they are also available in the form of two-sided tapes. They can be used, but there are certain drawbacks of adhesives. They leave a residue after removal of the prosthesis, and they have unpredictable retention, and cleaning of the periorbital skin is very essential, and it can lead to tear of the prosthesis also. So both the cleaning and care of prosthesis are fundamental for maintaining its quality. It has been verified that among the material for fabricating maxillofacial prosthesis, silicone was considered the major retainer of microorganism on its surface. Therefore, for cleaning prosthesis, the use of water and neutral soap as well as chlorhexidine is recommended. For care of the adjacent tissues, it is recommended to remove the prosthesis before going to sleep, in addition to washing the prosthesis receptors tissues with water and neutral soap, or with a mixture of hydrogen peroxide and water. Whereas the mucosal surface of the ophthalmic cavity, cleaning with filtered or boiled water or physiologic solution like saline at a frequency of 3 times a day is recommended. Then, as we have discussed, spectacles can also be used as a mode of retention. Apart from that, we have magnets, elastic strips, precision attachments, and implants, which can be used as a mode of retention. Now, the next case is implant retained prosthesis for this orbital defect. So, in combination with this orbital defect, the patient was having intraoral defect. He has undergone maxillectomy. The reason for mentioning this maxillary defect is You might have noticed that the patients having combination defect like orbital and maxillary defect, they have facial disfigurement because of this maxillary defect. So the important thing is to restore this maxillary defect with the help of obturator first, and after that you can proceed for orbital prosthesis. So the facial contour will get restored, and apart from that, it will prevent excessive deformation of the periorbital defect as well. So whenever you come across a patient having a combination of maxillary and orbital defect, initially go for fabrication of interval prosthesis with bulb obturator, followed by fabrication of orbital prosthesis. So this is the procedure for fabrication of cast partial obturator, and you can see the framework and the hollow bulb technique was used for fabrication of obturator, so that it will reduce the weight of the prosthesis. Then characterization pigments were used so that the aesthetics can be achieved in a precise manner, and this was the final prosthesis. And you can see the slight difference in the facial contour after insertion of the prosthesis. After that, we made the impression of the facial region. The entire facial moulage was prepared. So this frame was fabricated to restrict the flow of impression material as well as the plaster which will be used for supporting this impression material. And the breathing was maintained with the help of these suction tips or hollow tubes placed in patient's oral cavity. And then the impression material was applied in a creamy consistency. And this was the final impression. You can see that the defect was blocked, or the undesirable undercuts, they were blocked with the help of cotton. Here you can see that the computer tomography was performed. So these computed tomography images, they were used for deciding the dimensions of implants. And you can see the precise measurements were recorded with the help of this CT. And then suitable size of implant was selected. And this was the surgical guide for placement of implant. And this was the 3D reconstructed image. And with the help of these investigations, implants were placed in the lateral margin of the orbit, and the incision was closed with the help of suture. And after osseointegration, the impression of the defect was re-recorded. You can see the UCLA abutment, it has been used for the pickup impression, and it underwent casting, and then one case for placement of magnet was fabricated during the casting procedure. So here you can see that the casted abutment has been fixed in the position by using implant abutment junction. And then the eye shell was tried, and the position was adjusted, and this was the final wax sculpture. So the modifications were made and it was processed. And you can see the interim and the final prosthesis which was retained with the help of implant. Then you may come across some refabrication procedure. This was the case of refabrication where we had placed implant and then it was retained with the help of magnet. Now it's very essential to maintain the thickness of the margin as thin as possible, so that the prosthesis will be inconspicuous. So thin margins, they allow a proper adaptation of the prosthesis, and the process will be inconspicuous. Apart from that, you can use certain instrument for placement or to implant these hair, so that it will give more natural appearance. And here you can see that the hair has been placed in this prosthesis, so that it will give more lifelike appearance, or the process will look more natural. And whenever you are placing eyelashes or eyebrows, you can use this instrument for implanting hair in the desired location. Now here you can see the processes which has been fabricated, and the skin texture has been replicated in a precise manner. And because of these eyelashes, it's giving a very natural or lifelike appearance to the prosthesis. So here you can see the margin is very thin, and it will lead to proper adaptation of this margin. And apart from that, it will not be visible at the junction of skin and the prosthesis. So this was another process fabricated. This was a case of implant written orbital prosthesis. And here also you can see these thin margins, which are very well adapted. And in a similar fashion, they will get adapted properly on patient's face as well. So again, it was a great experience to learn so many things at Okayama University. Now, regarding recent advances, digital impressions made using phase measuring profile-o-metry overcome many of the difficulties. And today we have various technologies like 3D printing, which can be used for fabrication of these records, and they can help us for processing or precise processing of our facial prosthesis. The working casts made from these images are very accurate, enable the recording of the contour of the defect wall. The patient head is in upright position and avoid the distortion of displaceable tissues associated with the use of conventional impression techniques. Now, this is the equipment which is used for fabrication or for 3D printing purpose. Now, this is a 3D printed model, and it can be used for prosthetic rehabilitation or planning for implant placement followed by prosthetic rehabilitation. So 3D printing is very important tool which can be used for fabrication of this facial prosthesis, and it will give more precise idea, or you can plan your processes in a more precise manner. And if there is any provision for placement of implant, that can also be planned with the help of this 3D printed model. Now coming to the summary, patients with facial defects are not only physically compromised, but it also affects psychological and social health of the patient. Rehabilitation options for these defects are numerous, and the decision rests in the hands of the operator. The operator has to formulate a treatment plan taking into consideration pertinent factors like the health, cooperation level of the patient, tissue health of the surgical site, the financial constraints of the patient, and the operator's skills. Loss of a part of face and adjacent structure is a very traumatic experience for individual. Rehabilitation of such patients, both emotionally and prosthetically, is a phenomenal task. Fabrication of facial prosthesis with proper technique helps to improve appearance, social and psychological status of the patient. So it's not only prosthetic rehabilitation, but you need to take care of the psychological status of these patients as well. So it's a multitasking job, and uh, if you are able to formulate the precise treatment plan, then definitely you will have successful outcome of this prosthetic rehabilitation. So again, I would like to thank all of you for your presence, and it was a great delightment for me to share my experience with you, and I hope it will help you for rehabilitation of various patients uh, who are having facial defects. So thank you so much.